So today's task is to try and make an in-depth video about a backrest. No, in all seriousness though, it possibly is one of the best backrests ever made. So if you stick around, I'll tell you exactly why. The backrests I've got with me today are from 𝘃𝗶𝗀, and it is the rock steady system that they do. Now, a lot of you might already know of these because they have been about for quite some time, which is a good thing because it shows that they have stood the test of time and they're still selling, still pretty popular. The ones I've got with me here are the V ones. That's obviously the best place to start because that's how this design first came about. So the V ones first came out in 2015. So like I say, they have been about for quite some time. They were first announced at a show, and I believe they sold it was either 500 or 1,000 sets within a couple of hours. So they were mega popular when they were first released. And that's quite understandable because there wasn't really anything on the market at the time to be able to snag fish safely and efficiently. Whereas these, your rod's not going anywhere. And it's a really simple design. So if I kind of talk you through it, you might see they look a little bit unconventional compared to a lot of backrests on the market. So you've basically got a little screw-in piece, I guess, that screws into your bank stick, and then on the top you actually leave this bit attached to your rod. So like I say, it's a really simple design and it literally just slots in place, and that's it. So if you get a bite, it's nice and easy. You can literally just pick the rod straight up, but any sort of movement, it's not going anywhere. So the rest itself, the backrest, is as strong as the bank stick. If your bank stick goes over, obviously yes, it will come out. But in theory, once you've got your bank stick into the ground, that's not going anywhere. But like I say, if you do get a bite, it's nice and easy, pick it straight up. So this is a V1, like I say, it's really simple. You've literally got a rubber O-ring that goes around the top, and this can stay on your rods. And then the bottom bit just stays on your bank stick. So let's move on to the V2s, see how they've changed over time. So the V1 was out for a couple of years before the V2, and then obviously that's given 𝘃𝗶𝗀 a decent amount of time to make any changes that they want to. But like I say, the V1 is still in production and still for sale. So that shows that they haven't made a V2 to supersede it. They've just tweaked things to give you a few more features in case you want that little bit more from your backrest. So moving on to the V2, as you can see, it does look very slightly different to the V1. But let's talk about differences in a little bit. Firstly, let's focus on the similarities. Obviously, the main purpose of this backrest is to be as sturdy as possible. And again, it is. It doesn't matter which way your rod might be bending. If you get a bite, it's going to be nice and sturdy, but it's nice and easy, again, to pick up your rod. So the concept's the same, but what is different between the V1 and the V2? Now, firstly, if we start at the top, there is a slightly thicker O-ring. Not a major change, but it does help in, say, the winter months when rubber starts to perish a little bit in the cold. It does mean that there'll be that little bit more hard wearing. But the main difference, well, there's a couple of main differences. Firstly, the visible one, you can see there is a screw on the side, which allows you to change the angle of the locking point. So if you're fishing with either your tips up in the air or your tips down into the water, you can change the angle so the backrest is as efficient as it possibly can be. Now, the other change is the locking point is actually a little bit longer, which means in turn the insert, which is attached to your rod, is a bit longer as well. Now that gives it that bit more stability because it's further down. Obviously, the further it is into something, just like a bank stick, then the more stable it's going to be. But another little change as well is it's noticeably tighter. So when you actually put it into the locking point, there is next to no movement on that whatsoever, whereas the V1 had a little bit of play. Not enough to cause any problems, but it's just engineering has been refined that little bit further. Now, the other thing with the V2 as well is it's available in a very nice shiny stainless steel. It's personal preference. Obviously, they both function exactly the same way, but if you do have a stainless setup, then it's nice to have the stainless option. You've still got the movement on it, so you can angle it how you want to, and it comes with a nice little O-ring, so you don't end up damaging any of your buzz bars or bank sticks. So yeah, that is the V2. Really stepped up from the V1, but it's down to personal preference because to be honest, the V1 is more than adequate. Now, the only thing I will say about the stainless version actually is that the bit on your rod will still be plastic, and that's a conscious decision by BankBug, because basically if you had a stainless steel part on your rod, it's going to cause damage to your cork or your blank, where it end up scratching it, whereas the plastic doesn't. But as you can see, that still fits in perfectly to the stainless, so it's been made accordingly. Now, if you do have the V1 and you don't want to buy a whole new kit, but you prefer the look of the stainless, then an upgrade is available through the BankBug website. Basically, this will just replace the plastic locking point, which actually attaches to your bank stick or your buzz bar, and then it will fit with your existing section on your rod. So yeah, it's well worth upgrading if you want a complete stainless setup. And to be honest, I quite like the look of these ones, so I might be having a word and trying to keep hold of these, because yeah, they are very nice. But check out the BankBug website for prices and any more information. But I think the reason this concept is so popular is because it's so simple. There's no magnets or nothing to actually lock in place where you have to do something if you have a bite. They just sit in place. They do what they need to do. They're super strong, super reliable. What more could you really want from a backrest? Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's been of use to you. And if you are interested in these products, like I said earlier, head over to the BankBug website. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.